So today is the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami, who is very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in his position in the spiritual world is very dear Manjari of Srimati Radharani, Rupa Manjari. Is known as Rasacharya. He is giving these transcendental literatures by which we can advance in devotional service. Rasamrita, nectar of instruction. Bhakti Rasamrita, Sindhu, nectar of devotion. So, showing the process by which we can advance. So therefore is also known as Abhideyacharya, giving the process by which we can advance in bhakti, following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood, and chanting the holy names of the Lord, and then hearing about Krishna's pastimes in Braj, and trying to follow the eternal associates of Krishna in Braj. So we are very fortunate to be in Braj by the mercy of Radha Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is revealed Brajdam, specifically Radha Kund and Chamakund, and has told his followers, especially the 6 Goswamis, to come to Braj and to excavate the lost holy places of Braj, and to give transcendental literatures for the conditioned souls, so they may advance in their devotional life. So we are reading the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, verse by verse, translated by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada's disciple Bhanu Swami, with the commentaries of Jiva Goswami and also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So Eastern section, the first part, second wave, text number 134. So the different angas of devotional service have been described and discussed. So text 134. Alaya Chayata Hari Bhakti Sududai. Going to the temple as illustrated in Hari Bhakti Sududai. Pravishan alayam Vishnu dasanartam subhaktiman na bhuya pravishen matu kukshi karagriham surihi. The intelligent person who enters the temple of Vishnu with devotion to see the Lord does not again enter the prison of a mother's womb. So simply by going to the temple of Vishnu or Krishna with devotion, one will become free from the cycle of birth and death. So, but we have to see that our devotion will manifest. By nature, the living entities, the eternal service of Krishna, the love is in the heart for Krishna. But it has to be manifested, so by purifying the consciousness. So that is for the conditioned souls. The eternal associates, they're always properly situated and the love is always there. Even when they come to this world, so of course the eternal associates are always with Krishna in the spiritual world, but when they come in this world in an expanded form, then of course to some extent they have to also undergo the laws of material nature, like taking birth, and then at that point childhood is there, And so then even the eternal associates, they have to then be educated. Materially speaking, and then also spiritually speaking, but then the natural love will very quickly manifest. Whereas for the sadhakas, it will take more time to become free from material consciousness, to gain transcendental knowledge, to advance in spiritual life, in bhakti. So, but if one is entering the temple, then yes, and then in order to see the Lord, and then one will be blessed by the Lord. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada made an interesting point one time, and also Srila Prabhupada, our Prabhupada, that we are not going to the temple to see the Lord. We're going to the temple so that Krishna will see us. Because He is the supreme enjoyer. We are not the enjoyers. We are the enjoyed. We're there to serve. So we go to the temple with seva bhav to serve the Lord. And then Krishna, when He sees us, and He sees our devotion, our service mood. So devotion means ready to serve the Lord for the Lord's pleasure, as He likes, not as we like. And then we may become free from the cycle of birth and death. Parikrama yatha tatraiva. Circumambulation, also from Hari Bhakti Sudodai. Vishnum pradakshina kurvan yastatravartate punaha tad eva vartanam tasya punanavartate bhave. If a person circumambulates Vishnu and returns to the same spot, that returning guarantees that he does not return to another birth. So circumambulating the temple, that is out of respect. When one is going inside the temple, one will offer obeisances to the Lord. So offering obeisances mentally, vocally, and physically in front of the deities. And then, after having taken darshan, when we go out and one will circumambulate the temple, that means circumambulate the deities. That is again to show that we are acknowledging the supremacy of the Lord and acknowledging our position as servants of the Lord. So when one is properly situated in this way, he will not have to take birth again in this material world. Then one will be spiritually situated in one's swarups, in one's original spiritual nature, form. Skande Chaturmasya Mahatmya. In the Skanda Purana, Chaturmasya Mahatmya, it is said, glorification of Chaturmas. Chaturvaram Brahmibhis tu jagat sarvam characharam krantum bhavati vipragriyam tattirtha gamanadikam. O best of the Brahmanas, those who circumambulate the Lord 4 times surpass the world of moving and non-moving creatures. This surpasses going to tirthas. Jiva Goswami's commentary. Chaturvaram means 4 times around Vishnu. Circumambulation of the deity is superior to visiting tirthas because it more quickly produces devotion to the Lord than going to tirthas such as the Ganges. So one may go to holy places and get some benefit. Of course, usually if one is going to the holy places, some temple will be there and one may be able to take darshan. But here it is also mentioned that if one is going to the tirtha, to a holy place, just as the Ganges. So, and then usually on the bank of the Ganges, not everywhere there will be a temple there. So, seeing the deity in the temple or circumambulating the temple, the deities, that is more transcendently beneficial than just going to the Ganges and taking bath there. Ata archanam, deity worship. Sudinyasadi purvanga karma nirva purvakam. Archanam tupacharanam syan mantrinopapadanam. Archan means offering items with mantra of the introductory activities such as Buddha Shuddhi and Nyas. So that we have explained before. Actually, this we already. This we already discussed, but anyhow, no problem. Shuddhi refers here to Buddha Shuddhi, purification of the elements of the body. That is especially before worshipping the deities, the main puja or the Shinga Seva, then Buddha Shuddhi is required. It runs as follows: I am by nature the eternal son of Krishna, but by misfortune, due to my being inimical towards him since time immemorial, I have been identifying with his material body, and I have been wandering in the cycle of birth and death, being burnt by the tree from Moses. Now, as a result of some unimaginable good fortune, by the mercy of my spiritual master, I know that I am an infinitesimal spiritual being completely apart from the gross and subtle body. Now, by the order of my spiritual master, following his footsteps, I obtained the good fortune of being able to serve his lotus feet, as well as the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda, Sri Krishna Param, Sri Radha Shama Sundar. So that is usually chanted. That is recited. And other mantras are there, of course, after performing Achman. So, Achman for purification. Om Tad Vishnu Paramambaram Sada Pashyanti Suryaho Divivachakshu Radadam Tatte Pajavinjavo Jagrevam Sasamindare Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam Om Madhavo Madhavo Vachi Madhavo Madhavo Riddhi Smarante Sarva Sarve Sarva Kashmaravam, and so on. So the Brahmanas chant these mantras to purify their consciousness, to be transcendently situated in order to be able to properly serve Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So then here also explained Nyas refers to Nyas such as Matrika Nyas. These are other actions Purvanga karma performed prior to the offering of items such as lamp and flowers to the deity. So different kinds of nyas which are sometimes performed in elaborate worship. Anganyas, karanyas, touching different parts of the body or the fingertips and then chanting different mantras, or usually also the Gopal mantra. So in elaborate worship it may be performed, but in simple worship, so we should basically understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So with Sambandha Gyan we should chant japa, with Sambandha Gyan we should worship the deities or do any kind of activity, being aware that I am the eternal son of Krishna, being separate from the gross and subtle body. So that is our identity, Jiva Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas. So here specifically Jiva Goswami is explaining, so these are performed before worshipping the Lord actually, with different items such as lamp and flowers. So while offering the different items, one will actually say the name of the upachar, of the item, like offering ghee lamp, Eshadupa, and then one will chant the Mula mantra, so the deity's mantra. So Eshadupa, Klim Krishnaya Namaha, Simram Radhikaya Swaha, and so on. So text number 138. So tad yata da shame. This is illustrated in the 10th canto. Svarga apavargaya pumsam rasayam bhuvi sampadam sarvasam api siddhenam mulam tachchananarchanam. Worship of the Lord's lotus feet is the root cause of all the perfections a person can find in heaven, in liberation, in the subterranean regions and on earth. So wherever one may be, one should actually worship the Lord. One should worship the lotus feet of the Lord. So Jiva Goswami's commentary. In this verse, Archana is emphasized and is thus mentioned as the Moolam, or root to glorify it, in comparison to processes other than Bhakti. So Archana is very important. Deity worship is very important. It is one of the limbs which are considered most important. Panchamahatapurna'am. Of course, we know first we have to take shelter of the spiritual master, Guru Padashray. And then he will tell us what to do, what not to do, and then he's explaining also about Navavida Bhakti, the ninefold process of devotional service, as explained by Prahlad Maharaj to his father and to his friends. And there Archanam is also included. And actually more than half of all the angas of Bhakti there refer to deity worship. So deity worship is very important. So in this verse, Archana is emphasized. However, the greatness of other angas of Bhakti should be understood to be similar. If Archana is absent, another anga of Bhakti can be performed and fulfill the same function. So different angas of Bhakti are there. And we know that ultimately most important is chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The following verse shows the Lord as a source of all knowledge, and the next verse shows that the Lord should thus be worshipped in all circumstances. From the 11th canto, text number 14. Krishna speaking to Uddhav. Kalena nasta pralaye vaniyam veda samgita maya dao brahmane prakta dharma yasyam madatmakaha. By the influence of time, the transcendental sound of Vedic knowledge was lost at the time of revelation. Therefore, when the subsequent creation took place, I spoke the Vedic knowledge to Brahma because I myself am the religious principles enunciated in the Vedas. So Krishna himself is giving transcendental knowledge. So Krishna is the embodiment of all knowledge. So, and of course we know he spoke Bhagavad Gita also to Arjuna. So here, 11th canto is speaking to Uddhav, giving this transcendental knowledge. And as explained in this verse, so in the beginning, Mayado Brahmane Prokta. So I spoke the Vedic knowledge to Brahma, as explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, and various Vedic literatures. Krishna himself is speaking to Lord Brahma. Jnanam param guhyam me yad vijnanam samanvitam sarahasyam tadangascha grihana gatatam maya. My dear Brahma, so you may accept this knowledge which I have spoken. Jnanam param guhyam, it is very confidential knowledge. Guhyam. Savijnanam samangitam. And then the realization is included. Sarahasya tadangascha. So the secret is also there, that if we get knowledge, so that is known as jnana. The big jnana, the realization is included, but there's a secret how we can realize, not simply by hearing. But we must be positively disposed. We must be having the service attitude, seva bhav, and so accepting the knowledge, but then we have to put into practice the knowledge. And then, so as explained, so the different limbs of devotional service are there. So we get knowledge and then we apply in our life, and then we will get a realization. And then we can make rapid advancement. So here he's explaining that by the influence of time, so transcendental sound of Vedic knowledge was lost. So in the material world, that is happening regularly, that the Vedic knowledge is lost. And therefore the Lord again has to speak. And as here to Lord Brahma, as he says himself, is saying. And he comes as, so of course in different incarnations he's there and he's giving knowledge. But Krishna, Son Bhagavan, he himself is coming and giving this knowledge to Arjuna, he's giving knowledge to Uddhav, to different personalities. And then he's coming as Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, but with the mood and luster of Srimati Radharani. So in this way he himself is coming to give knowledge, or he's sending his representative, the pure devotee. And usually the pure devotees, of course they're always engaged in the service of the Lord on the transcendental plane. But then in this world, they will install deities and the Lord will manifest. by the prayers, by the devotion of the pure devotee. But then Krishna, he comes actually by his own sweet way, Svechase, in order to establish the principles of religion, in order to bless the devotees, in order to deliver the innocent people, and to annihilate the demonic tendencies of the conditioned souls. So next is explaining Akama Sarva Kamava Muksha Kamo Daradi Tivarena Bhakti Yogena Yaita Purusham Param. So famous verse also from 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, text number 10. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires, free from material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. So, Udaradi, one who is magnanimous, who is broad-minded, intelligent, so he may understand and he may worship the Lord. So even if he is without any material desire or kama, or sarva kama, or if he is also full of material desires, or if he wants liberation, whatever may be the situation of the different jivas, but they all must worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Param Purush. Tivra in the Bhakti Yogena, Tivra, so intense devotional service should be there. Yajita Purusham Param. Yajita, worship. The Param Purush, the original personality of Godhead. So those who are intelligent, they will do that. But as indicated here, that different devotees are on different levels of understanding, different levels of purity are there. So, but whatever one situation should, one may be situated in, whatever may be our situation, so we should worship the Supreme Lord. So that is for everyone. Alternately, another meaning can be found in the verse. Unless a person worships the Lord, though engaged in other non-devotional processes, he cannot gain his material goals. So different processes are there in order to make advancement. But ultimately, one has to worship the Lord. And then he will be able to, with satisfaction, he will be able to advance. But at the same time, even if he has some material desires, the Lord will also try to help him. But it does not mean that now we should just try to be well situated in this world and then hope that the Lord will fulfill our desires. No. So, but one should be engaged in pure devotional service. And Yabilashita Shunyam Jnana Karamanavritam Anukulini Krishna Ruchiranam Bhakti Ruttaman. But to become pure and to serve without ulterior motives, without material desires is very difficult. But the Lord is merciful. And so He's helping to conditioned souls. And usually He's appreciate whatever one may be able to do. So, but basically what is meant here is that by all means one should worship the Lord, whatever one's position may be. And then another verse from the Bhagavatam 8th canto. Mantratas tantratas chidram deshakalar havastudaha sarvam kotanis chidram anusankirtanam tava. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras and observing the regulative principles. And there may be discrepancies with regard to time, place, person, and paraphernalia. Nevertheless, when your Lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. So here, the Yuga Dharma has glorified the chanting of the holy names. And even if there's some shortcomings are there, but if one is chanting the holy names, everything is fine. At the same time, we should be careful also. At the same time, we should beg forgiveness from the Lord if we have done some mistake. Mantrahinam kriyahinam bhaktihinam janadana yapujidam edeva paripuram tadastume. My dear Lord, mantrahinam kriyahinam, although I didn't chant the mantras properly, although I didn't do the seva nicely, bhaktihinam, and I don't have any bhakti, but still, thinking of me as your servant, kindly accept whatever I will offer to you, even if it is just a small offering. So, the devotee is humble. And the devotee is never thinking of that I'm perfect or complete, and I'm special. He always thinks that he's insignificant, and he's always carefully seeing that he may not perform anything wrong, that he will have the proper consciousness, that he will chant the mantras nicely. But then he will beg forgiveness from the Lord at the end of the worship. So by begging forgiveness from the Lord, usually the Lord will excuse. At the same time, so here it is mentioned that if one is sincerely chanting the holy names, then he may be excused also of the offenses. So also here mentioned about time, place, and person and paraphernalia, time, place, circumstances. Sometimes there's this discrepancy there. But if we beg forgiveness from the Lord, and especially if we chant the holy names, then everything becomes faultless, everything becomes fine. So if one is committing some aparad, especially towards deities, then one has to beg forgiveness. And then one has to repent. And one has to do something special. Or one has to increase one's devotional activities. So chant a few extra rounds. chant the first chapter or chant one of the chapters of Bhagavad Gita, like the 12th or the 15th, repenting, begging forgiveness from the Lord. And the Lord is very merciful, and He will forgive us, and He will help us to advance. Then one more verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto. Mukha bahuro padebhya purushasya shrammaha ashramai saha chatvaro yagre vana gunai vipradaya pritak. Each of the four social orders headed by the Brahmanas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these are the four varnas or social orders. Each of the four social orders headed by the Brahmanas was born through different combinations of the modes of nature. From the face, arm, thighs and feet of the Supreme Lord in this universal form, thus the four spiritual orders were also generated. So Varnashram is there. So we engage in the pure devotional service of the Lord. And the angas of the service, angas of devotion, especially Panch Mahatva Pranam. At the same time, we have to follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures. We have to follow Varnashram, but with a proper consciousness and that Krishna should be in the center. But the Varnashram is important. It is required in every society. Otherwise the society cannot function. Just like the body. So if the head is not right, so if there is some problem with the brain, then the body cannot function either properly. And so that is also mentioned here, indicated. That the four social orders are appearing actually from the Lord in His universal form. Brahmano samukamasid bahu rajanya krida urudadasya vaishyaha padbyagam sudra jayataha. Brahmano samukamasid. Brahmanas came from their face. Bahu rajanya, and the kings from the arms. And then the Vaishyas from the belly, and the Shudras from the legs. And then so through the different combinations of modes of material nature. So the Brahmanas are predominantly in the mode of goodness. The Kshatriyas, they are predominantly the mode of passion. And the Vaishyas, passion and ignorance, and the Shudras in ignorance. But of course, the modes of material nature are there, also mixed in everyone. Even the Brahmanas, although they are knowledgeable, but still sometimes some passion may be there, some ignorance is there, because they may not be aware of their transcendental form, their transcendental existence, their relationship with Krishna. So, it is ultimately by the mercy of Mahaprabhu and his associates that the good fortune will arise, and one will understand one's constitutional position, and one will learn how to engage in devotional service in advance, and then also how we may attain perfection. So, but for this we have to be in the guidance of a devotee who is more advanced. who is an associate of the Lord, the representative of the Lord. Tapasvino Dhanaparaya Shasvino Manasvino Mantravida Sumangala Kshemam Navindadi Vinaya Darpanam Tasmai Subhadra Shavase Namo Namaha. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-auspicious Lord Sri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic mantras, and the great followers of the Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedicating of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. So whatever qualities we may have, so according to modes of material nature, we should engage in the service of the Lord. So we return service of Krishna. So we should fully dedicate that. We should be fully dedicated with body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord. Iha yasya haridasya karma namasagira nikalasha vyavasastu jiva mukta suchyate. Iha yasya haridasya, for his understanding one's position, understanding that one is Hare Dasya, the servant of Hari, and then Karmana Manasagira, engaging the body, the mind, the senses. In the service of the Lord, then one is considered to be liberated. So, here mentioned about different persons and their qualities, but then it is mentioned that one cannot achieve anything if it is not dedicated to the service of the Lord. Great learned sages may be there, so but they have to be engaged in the service of the Lord. People are giving charity, but they have to be engaged in the service of the Lord, and they have to give some donation to the Lord. So actually we should try as much as possible to engage everything in Krishna Seva. And then one's life will be successful. Vishnu Rahasya Cha Sri Vishnu Rachanam. Let me see. I think we stop here because there are so many verses, it will take too much time. Any questions?
As you mentioned, like one is chanting well,
yes,
not only complete of bhakti, but what about our personal nature? Whenever I see when we become devotee, and this question also came in last area. Someone asked me, if one is chanting, is doing everything. There is no need to do anything except that. So this is a statement is like how to answer this thing.
Yes, of course, chanting the holy names is most important. But in the beginning, one will not be able to chant Shuddhanam, the pure name. That is one thing. So in the beginning, one has to actually hear about the Lord. And one has to serve the Lord also. And then, after some times, one is able to chant Shuddhanam. And then there's no need of anything else. But if one is not chanting Shuddhanam, then one has to serve the deities, one has to hear about the Lord, one has to serve the Vaishnavas, one has to follow Varna Ashram. That has to be there. And even, for example, also we know, again, if one is a pure devotee, then one can just chant, and then one can just live under the tree like the 6 Goswamis and chant, and then like even Madhavendra Puri, Ayaschit Vrat. He had a vrat that I will not beg anything from anyone. I will just chant, and then if something comes to it, I will take. If not, then Haribol, I chant more. Just depending on Krishna. So that is not easy. And that very few can do. So much so that he was chanting, not worrying. And people would give, and then he used to take. Nobody would give, he used to just chant.
Means
that is very difficult. Yeah.
Means that we should also follow our duties and
Yes.
responsibilities also very well.
Yes, it is also mentioned that we have to be engaged in according to Varna Ashram, otherwise we cannot even maintain our body. So we have to have some occupation, and then we can take care of the family. Even a brahmachari, he cannot just chant the holy names, but he has to do some seva also. Otherwise, Janani Maharaj will come. Hey, 8 hours seva! You cannot just chant holy names, or in any temple. Commander will come. I have to do seva. No, I just want to chant. No. I remember even myself when I first came here, and then I was chanting the holy names, and I had a liking for the chanting the holy names. I like to chant right from the beginning. I joined immediately, I chanted 16 rounds. The first day.
First day.
Yeah, first day. They say I came here and met the devotees, and then they told me, well, why don't you stay in the ashram? You can stay free, and you get something to eat also.
Facility.
Wow. And we'll give you clothes also. Dhoti and kut and chadar. Everything, you don't have to worry. I thought, wow, that's wonderful. Sure, I will do. Then I said, only one thing you have to do. I said, what? You have to cut your hair. Because I had long hair. I said, okay, no problem. And they cut my hair, and I moved in. And then, okay, now you have to get up early, and Mangalartik at 4:30. So take rest not too late. I said, okay. Taking rest at 10, getting up at 4, Mangalartik. And then hear a bead bag and chant Hare Krishna. They showed me. I said, okay. And immediately chanted 16 rounds the first day. And then every day. And I never missed chanting 16 rounds. Till today. And now 16 is like, as Prabhupada said, double it. Minimum 16. Now minimum is 32 or even more, without fail. So, and then I like to chant, and then I was chanting fast and clearly, and then it's okay. And then devotees were saying, well, you're chanting so fast. I said, yeah, but I'm chanting and hearing. Now I have to chant slowly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And I was saying, but I'm chanting and I'm hearing. What is the problem? Okay. And then do seva. And then I said, okay. Then I was doing some seva. And then I was learning the shlokas also. And the Shikshashtakam. And quickly, and all the songs which are there, very quickly I learned everything. And then, but sometimes because somehow already I had a taste for chanting, some taste, I liked, and then, but we had to lead seva, but then sometimes temple commander, come, there's some seva. And then I was thinking, I have to stop my chanting, I have to do some seva. So, but then you have to do. Because temple commander is saying, are you a new bhakta? Why do you have to chant? Okay, but then you have to do seva. I said, okay. then I was doing some seva. Unless exceptional cases were there. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's time.
Yes.
So there was one elderly gentleman. So he had seen in the newspaper, anyone who wants to come to the temple can stay free. To the mat, can stay free, will get prasad. He only has to do one thing, that is chanting the holy names. That's all, nothing else. So he cut it out, the clip of the newspaper advertisement. He went to the temple, and then he told the devotees, here, you see, I saw this, I want to stay. Okay, yes, stay. Gave him some clothes, and then took prasad, and then took rest, and then I started chanting the holy names. Also immediately 16 rounds. And then the brahmacharis there, young brahmacharis, he was a little elder, he was a professor. And so then, hey, you have to do seva. I said, no, I'm chanting. No, I have to do seva. No, I'm chanting. You see this here? I'm chanting. And then, because he's a little elder, then they complained to Bhakti Siddhanta. Bhakti, there's one new devotee, one new bhakta here. And he doesn't want to do any seva. He's only chanting. Huh? Okay, call him here. And then they called him, and then, so Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada saw he's a little elderly already. So, and educated person, he was a professor, spoke well English. And Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada asked him, so the brahmacharis are saying you just came here new, and so you're chanting, that is very nice, but you don't want to do any seva. And then the person said, yes, because I saw your clip here, that anyone who wants to come and stay here can chant, can come and stay, and just chant the holy names. I'm just chanting the holy names, and I feel great pleasure. And then Bhakti Siddhanta understood that is a special soul. I said, okay, no problem, you can just chant. And told the brahmachari, he's a special devotee, let him just chant. He was just chanting. And then he was initiated, and after some time he took Babaji Vesh, Akincha Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj. And so then he became good friend with A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada took sannyas in Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura from Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Akincha Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj was there. And Prabhupada asked him, please you chant the holy names during the ceremony. Yeah, yes, of course. So that is some rare cases. But otherwise, you have to do some seva. If you are in the temple, if you are a householder, you cannot just chant. Then the wife will come, hey, we need some money. Where's the money? You cannot say, I'm just chanting Hare Krishna.
The money will come.
The money will come. We have to depend on Krishna. No, I have to work. I need this sari, that I need a new pot. We need some rice, dal, sabji. And then the kids are there, and they need this and that. So then you have to work. But we depend on Krishna still, and we do seva, we chant, and we study. And then we do little something. So we get something, some money. Yeah. So that is the situation. But the main thing is chanting the holy names, but then so we have to do some work also to maintain the family, to maintain the body.
Because in our time, like when we came to Krishna consciousness, it was like we used to tell lie, leave the job and you just come here in temple, do this. It was the situation, and people used to tell lie actually to go to Mayapur and all. That was not like convinced with these things. And then when I was Grasta since beginning when I joined even. And then after some time I found like we are more into this thing, but we are getting weak in earning. This thing was like I was like completely confused and devastated. And then somehow then I came in your contact, then I got these things actually. Then I became serious about my life. At Kripalu Prabhu house you also give this thing, that no, one has to do all duties very well, yagyas and everything, Rasta has to maintain everything. And that was the first instrument in this. This time I went to Meerut to do a yagya, it was a Simantanam and Samsara. And the same thing happened. I told him like this, one has to do all things. Rasta has to be careful about even cows, even dogs, anyone. Even Thakur used to do everything very carefully. He said, no, I have never read these things. I have read all Bhagavatam.
No. Chanting the holy names is most important, but we have to do our duty according to Varnashram. And we have to, especially we have to worship the deities also. And we have to hear sufficiently, and then we can properly chant their holy names. So, otherwise one will not be able to chant properly and advance properly, unless the previous impressions are there from last life. But otherwise, but that is very rare. So then we have to understand. Vaishnav Seva.
So by this it's not only Naam Ruchi, but Jiva Daya means वो बोल रहे थे ना cows and everything. So see, it's there Jiva Daya.
Yeah.
And then Vaishnav Seva is also there.
Yeah. So Vaishnav is very exemplary, and he's not thinking only about himself. Sarva bhute hite rataha. He's thinking about others also, how he can help others. So that is there also. He's chanting the holy names, but then he has to take care of the family, and he has to try to help others also, so they may advance. And Seva Bhava has to be there. Serve Hari, Guru and Vaishnav. That is important. And we can see when the Acharyas and Rup Goswami, so he was a householder, but then so Vaishnavas, of course from Brahmana family, but then due to the Muslims they had to work for the Muslims also, and then they earn money also, because they were doing important service in the government of the Muslim ruler. And then Rup Goswami also, at one point he decided, as he had met Mahaprabhu, to surrender to Mahaprabhu. And he told also the ruler, Muslim ruler, I said, okay. And then all the wealth he had, so then he distributed to the Brahmanas, he gave to the Lord, to the temples, to the Brahmanas, but then he kept money also for his family members. And he kept some money for emergency. So that is there. So, and then when Sanatana Goswami, he also wanted to leave, but the ruler didn't let him go. But then still, so he decided to give up serving the Muslim ruler. And he was just listening Harikatha, discussing the scriptures with Brahmanas, Vaishnavas. And therefore, when the Muslim ruler heard about this, he put Sanatana Goswami in the jail. And then, so Rupa Goswami then indicated to him that I have some wealth, and you may take that, and then you may try to get out of the prison. So sometimes emergency, we also need money. So that is there. So we have to be practical. We take shelter of the holy names, and that is everything for us, but at the same time we have to do our duty. And then see what is Krishna's desire, what is Krishna's plan that we have to do. Anything else? Jai. Sri Rupa Goswami Pada ki, Satyanandana Gaura Hari ki, Sri Radha Shan Sundar ki, Sri Prabhupada ki, Sri Gurudev ki.